Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new, welcome. My name is Samantha and I am a 29-year-old living in the SF Bay Area. I am talking today about wedding planning during COVID and what we had to do with our wedding. Our wedding was actually supposed to be today, if I'm uploading this on the right date, September 26th. 2020 on a Saturday, and obviously we are not getting married. So what did we do and how was wedding planning during this time? Just to provide some background, our wedding was supposed to have a couple hundred people in the San Francisco Bay Area, and obviously large gatherings are still not allowed at this point because of coronavirus. Because our wedding was supposed to be in September and quarantine and shelter in place happened all the way back in March, at that point in March, I had already booked all my major vendors like photographer, videographer, venue, etc. So because I had those major vendors locked down, I essentially kind of just paused from wedding planning for a while, like a long time. At that point, we really just sent out our save the dates, and we did lock down our vendors and paid like 50% deposits to like everyone we had locked down. Because everything was shut down, I just kind of made that an excuse to not continue wedding planning because that is stressful. Wedding planning is really stressful. I was totally down to take a break, but at the same time, wedding planning during COVID was like super awkward. Like, is the wedding happening or is it not? Like, do I wedding plan or do I not? It's like I would hate wasting time and do all this wedding planning to get to the end and be like, oh, it's not actually gonna happen. And I was lucky and fortunate to have that option versus like brides who are getting married like that month or the next month or sooner, closer to March. They were probably freaking out. So my situation was a lot better than theirs, so I am very grateful for that. But yeah, it was just very weird. So I did take a pause, and I felt like, I could take a break for a couple months, see how COVID does, and if the wedding is still back on, I'd still have a few months to continue planning, and maybe I will cram all that wedding planning at that time, but at least I can just chill and relax for the meantime. So that's what I did. Fast forward till May or June, there still aren't large gatherings that are allowed, and it just didn't feel like anything was happening. So at that point, my fiance and I were basically trying to figure out what we should do. Essentially, when you're like wedding planning during COVID, you have like 4 different options, right? You can either cancel the wedding, you could postpone the wedding, you could get married on paper, or you could have a small intimate wedding. Or at least those were our 4 options in our minds. So canceling the wedding, no, because we had all the deposits down and we would essentially lose them all, I'm pretty sure, if we canceled, or at least the biggest one, which was the venue, if we canceled. Canceling was also not an option because I still want like a nice large wedding. I want to be surrounded by family and friends. I do want to get married in front of people, I want to have a large wedding to celebrate and have fun. So I didn't want to cancel our wedding altogether. Postpone. Yes, we can postpone if we work out with all our vendors and our venue and make it work, and postpone till next year. And thankfully, we have a very understanding venue. We did reach out, and in June, they decided to let us postpone with no fees or anything like that. They just let us postpone a year out from our wedding date, any date we wanted. Another option was getting married on paper, and I feel like a lot of people are drifting towards this option, but for us, it just like doesn't seem like there's a point to it, because I feel like if you're getting married on paper, you just want to get married on a specific date, which is why you want to get it done on paper, or if you have different reasons, that's totally fine. But for us, getting married on paper is essentially just an official date. And so when we thought about it, it's like, I feel like the actual wedding date would feel like whenever the huge celebration and wedding actually happens, with everyone involved. So getting married on paper wouldn't really make me feel any different. It would still feel like the actual day that we get married in front of everyone else would actually be the official wedding date regardless. So there really wasn't a point for us to get married on paper. And the last option is having a very intimate wedding ceremony and celebration with just our immediate family. And this just doesn't seem right to us. We want the big celebration. We want everyone to be involved outside of just our immediate family. We want our friends to be there, extended family. They've played a huge part in our lives, and We just want to have fun with everyone. So we decided to roll that out. So as you might have guessed, that ultimately led to us postponing the wedding. Like I said before, our venue was really understanding and really cooperative with us. We were able to book another wedding date 1 year out. I just basically had to email all of our vendors to see which dates matched up with everyone. And luckily, there were a couple dates that all of our vendors, including our venue, had available still for next year. So we booked one that worked out for all of us. It was actually a lot easier to find a wedding date that worked with all of our vendors, including our venue, than I expected it to be. I think especially because our venue stopped accepting or scheduling new couples for wedding dates next year, so that really helped a lot, so I was very grateful for that. And I was prepared, you know, if it was harder to find a wedding date, I was ready to let go of the vendors that, one, either I hadn't paid a deposit to yet, or I had paid a lower deposit to. So, you know, really the vendors that I really cared about are the ones that required a larger deposit, you know, like photographer and videographer. So I was ready to keep those and try to find a wedding date that worked with our venue as much as possible if, you know, no one date worked for all of my vendors, if that makes sense. I am still not sure if that's going to be the official date. That's just how wedding planning is during COVID, you know, especially since we don't know when vaccines are coming out and everything like that. And we are inviting, you know, over 200, 300 guests. And so I have no idea if an event that large is going to be allowed at that time, even though it's a full year out. Like, it's been 6 months and we're still in the same situation right now. There is the same uncertainty, and I have not started wedding planning up again yet because I'm just kind of skeptical still. I think the worst part is that I'm a huge planner, and if you are a planner as well, this uncertainty is definitely really hard to accept and like be okay with. You know, I just love to know if things are going to happen or not. And so, you know, thumbs up if you're a planner like me, because this is really stressful, but we'll get through it together. So let me know in the comments down below if you're also planning a wedding for, you know, anytime from now until next summer. Would love to hear if you had to postpone, cancel, or change your wedding plans anytime this year because of COVID. All right, so as I'm editing this video, you know, this is the day before what would have been our wedding, and I filmed that a couple days ago, and it wasn't until yesterday where it started hitting me like, oh shoot, like I was supposed to get married this weekend. I was all happy and totally fine when I filmed that part of the video, and now, you know, yesterday I went like into this sad mode, just being like, I should be getting married this week. This should be my wedding week. I should have been walking down the aisle. I should have been able to wear my dress this weekend, da 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 da. And so I'm kind of like in a funk right now, which makes me feel like what I recorded that you just watched was like so hypocritical, because it was like, oh yeah, like we are postponing our wedding, everything is fine, when it really is not. So this is how I really feel, knowing that my wedding is not happening this week. It does suck. I know it's for good reasons. I do want to celebrate with everyone eventually when it's safe to do so and all that. But I've just waited so long. At this point, I've been engaged for about 2.5 years, and I'm gonna have to wait like another year. Like ideally, I wanted to get married in 2018. Things got in the way of that. And I didn't want to get married in 2019, which now I wish I had, because then I wouldn't be in this mess, and can't get married this year. Maybe we'll get married next year. I just feel like I've been engaged forever now, and I've been waiting so long, and so it is frustrating. I also feel like there are so many bigger problems in this world. Like, I shouldn't feel so upset about, you know, not getting married. Like, I'm lucky to be able to be getting married at some point in the future, whether it's next year or whatever. But I also feel like I do have the right to be a little sad. So yeah, I'm just gonna have a couple sad days to just try to get over the fact that I'm gonna have to wait another year to get married. So yeah, anyway, let me know if you relate. You know, it's not super fun having something outside of your control be in control of your wedding other than you. So yeah, let me know how you've really been dealing with wedding planning and how you really feel. Let's hear it. Let's get the real feelings out there and share it, because you're not alone. This is how I feel. So yeah, anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a like if you did. Follow along, subscribe for this wedding planning journey if you'd like, and I hope to see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.